Hello and welcome to the David Kurten Show here on today's News Talk TNT. Now, there is a disturbing story coming out of Wales, which applies to anywhere in the United Kingdom. A child who is 6 years old is being forced to take comprehensive sexuality lessons, even though he is autistic. And his parents have put in a request that this autistic child be removed from these lessons, which are compulsory anyway for all children in Wales because of what the Welsh government has done, because the parents say if this child is forced to listen to gender ideology and all the things that are being taught to children, which are absolute nonsense and don't make any sense, this autistic child will take those things literally, and their physical health may be in danger and may be damaged just as much as his mental health is already damaged by autism. What has happened is that they applied to a tribunal. Initially, they said that yes, the child could be accepted from these lessons, but then apparently someone within the education department in the Welsh government overruled the tribunal and is forcing the head teacher in the school to keep the child in lessons and is forcing the parent to keep their autistic child in these comprehensive sexuality education lessons and be exposed to gender ideology. If this child is taught in school that there are not two biological sexes, which is scientific fact, and everybody in all times and in all places all around the world have known this without question until about 10 years ago in the West, then this child will start to actually believe what he is told, that there are 79 genders, and he can decide what gender he is when he's a given age or on a given day. He can be a boy on Monday, a girl on Tuesday, a unicorn on Wednesday, an androgynous dwarf on Thursday, and a spaceship on Friday, perhaps something like this. Absolute and complete nonsense. But more than this subject is teaching queer theory to the very youngest of children. And the activists going into schools teaching queer theory believe that children are sexual from birth, as well as genuinely believing, so they say, there is no such thing as biological sex. Biological sex, male and female, is a social construct, and you can decide what gender you are whenever you like. This is absolute nonsense, and it shouldn't be taught to children at all. Now, of course, this has been brought in by the Labour government of Wales in the Senedd in Cardiff. Different things are happening in different parts of the United Kingdom. It's all going in the same direction, but Wales has gone further than England and Northern Ireland so far at what they've introduced earlier this year. Now, Kim Isherwood of Public Child Protection Wales was on the show recently to talk about this, and she said that one of the concerns is the introduction of queer theory, which they are pushing on the children, which I've just explained. Now, this applies to all over the UK, as I've said. In England, it's not Labour, it's the Conservative Party, the fake Conservative government that have imposed this on England, and they did this in 2017 with the Child and Social Work Act, which was supported by Labour and amended by Labour to force children to take new subjects called relationships education in primary school and sex and relationships education, or relationships and sex education as it is now, in secondary school. The thing about relationships education in primary school is you can't really separate the sex part of it from the relationships part of it, because schools are teaching people about same-sex relationships and gender theory and queer theory in many places, particularly schools that have got activists and who are taking materials from activist LGBT NGOs in order to teach this lesson content. Scotland is more open. They're openly calling the subject comprehensive sexuality education, and that's been introduced by the SNP. And in Northern Ireland, where the Northern Ireland Assembly has been out of action for 3 years and they're not doing anything to actually make laws and govern the education system in Northern Ireland, Westminster in England, with the fake Conservatives and Labour together, are imposing relationships and sex education in Northern Ireland as well. The fact is, with all of these things, it doesn't matter whether you're in England, Wales, Scotland, or Northern Ireland, our children are in danger from people who are teaching this subject and refuse to just let kids be kids and have their innocence and have their childhood. There are people in government and activists in schools who are hell-bent on sexualizing our children, whether it is teaching them to be promiscuous in a heterosexual manner, whether it is teaching them about homosexuality and homosexual acts, which children shouldn't even be told about when they're 14 or 15, and bringing that to 4 and 5-year-olds, or whether it is transgenderism and all the nonsense of gender theory and queer theory that comes initially out of the critical theory and the cultural Marxism of the Frankfurt School that has now been mainstreamed in our educational establishments. We need to protect our children, all our children, from this subject and from these dangerous and damaging activist ideas. And the case of this 6-year-old autistic child in Wales is a warning to everyone, everywhere, that we need to take note of what is going on in our schools. And whatever they say, we need to take our children out of these lessons, and we need to get into places of power to overturn what these dreadful people are doing to our kids in our schools.